Good evening and thank you for joining me on Black News Tonight. I'm Marc Lamont Hill. The first full week of testimony is over in the murder trial of 3 white men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud Arbery was killed in February 2020 in a mostly white community. Arbery's killer claims it was in self-defense. One of the defense attorneys drawing criticism for what he said about black pastors supporting the Arbery family. BNC's Drake Clark has more.
Before the jury was brought in, defense attorney Kevin Goff addressed the court.
And my apologies to anyone who might have inadvertently been offended.
Goff's entire mea culpa lasted close to 30 seconds. It was far less than the 3 minutes he spent in court Thursday, claiming Reverend Al Sharpton's recent appearance in the courtroom with the Arbery family intimidated jurors. But it's what he said next that made eyes roll and mouths drop.
Obviously, there's only so many pastors they can have. And if their pastor's Al Sharpton right now, that's fine, but then that's it. We don't want any more black pastors coming in here.
Almost immediately, Goff's words went viral, trending quickly on social media. Ben Crump saying in a tweet, "It's not illegal for black pastors to support the parents of Ahmaud Arbery." Going on to say, "We are going to bring 100 black pastors to pray with the family next week." The other defense attorneys who sit next to Goff in court also found his words offensive.
It's a ridiculous comment.
And when we try approaching Goff,
do you think what you said yesterday was racist in any way?
What I say in court, I say in court.
He was deflective and reluctant to speak with us. But no one was more offended than Wanda Cooper Jones, Ahmaud Arbery's mother.
What Goff said yesterday was very insensitive. I don't see how anyone could see Al Sharpton's presence as being something that was negative.
The first full week of testimony concluded with prosecutors calling more law enforcement to testify. Prosecutors say Gregory and Travis McMichael, along with William Bryan, murdered Ahmaud Arbery because they thought he was a black criminal. The 3 men have pleaded not guilty, claiming Arbery's killing was self-defense. In New York, I'm Drake Clark for Black News Tonight.
A black police officer in Ohio who had a Ku Klux Klan note left on his raincoat is finally speaking out. We first told you about the incident, which happened back in June. Then Police Chief Anthony Campo was caught on video placing a Klan printout on Officer Keith Poole's coat. Poole said that was just one of many incidents. Campo resigned back in July, and Poole has since filed a discrimination charge against Campo, which prepares him to file a lawsuit. Attorneys have also filed a petition to get police department records that they believe will show a pattern of harassment involving Campo. Officials at a Minneapolis high school are investigating a racist video involving a 14-year-old black student. The video was posted online and reshared by activist Sean King on Instagram. It shows a white female student identified as Jalen Crooks encouraging Naya Sigan to commit suicide. Crooks can be heard using the N-word repeatedly. Sigan suffers from anxiety and depression, and she attempted to commit suicide back in May. She says the video has had a major impact on her. The principal of their school sent a letter to staff and families acknowledging the video, the investigation, and promising to take appropriate action. A 14-year-old trans student, Willow Andring, has been attacked by a classmate at Armstrong High School in Pennsylvania. Prior to the incident, the classmate verbally assaulted the student before attacking her in the hallways. Other students filmed the attack and later posted the incident to social media. Manor Township police are reportedly investigating the attack to determine if other students were involved. The 14-year-old student suffered a concussion from the attack. And in Mableton, Georgia, 15-year-old transgender student Shantae Payne posted video of her being attacked on her Instagram page. 2 boys jumped her, causing her to black out. Payne says only 1 boy has been suspended. She shared her story with Gay Magazine, hoping to bring awareness to the attack. Joining me today to talk more deeply about these unfortunate really tragic incidents is national organizer and activist Hope Giselle. Giselle, always good to see you. We've been seeing a string of attacks like the one we saw in Pennsylvania, Georgia. What's going on?
Honestly, I think that there's a lack of education. There's a lack of need to protect these students. I think students as a whole have to be protected. But when we talk about a marginalized group of young people that are dependent upon the folks that go to school with them and the folks that actually operate and run these schools, a lot of the marks are being missed. When we talk about the numbers, we're seeing 33% of students saying that they have experienced transphobia from people who are actually a part of staff, and 66% of these people are saying that they've experienced transphobia as a whole from other student bodies. And this is a study that was done by NCTE, or the National Trans Justice Coalition. So when we're talking about what can be done, we have to see a lot more effort from these principals. We have to see a lot more effort from the guidance counselors, and quite frankly, just some more training to the people that are going to be, guiding these students in the hallways every single day.
The statistic you just cited is really chilling because it suggests that it's not just one or two rogue students, it's just not one or two bullies, but that it's systemic, that it's structural. How do we find a way to deal with this at a systemic level? How do we get ahead of this? How do we get in front of this?
So I think that what we have to do is we have to call out the school boards. We have to call out the superintendents and let them know that these things are things that we care about. It cannot just be isolated to one event or two events when we want to get people off of our backs for, the sake of the situation. When we see this situation right now with Shantae Payne, people are only paying attention because there were folks like myself and other activists that took this to Instagram and made it their business to care. But before this, all we saw was one person be expelled from school. And outside of that, the two people who actually attacked her have been going live on Instagram since earlier this morning. I've been able to watch them. The principal has been tagged in them multiple times. And rather than actually deal with the situation, the principal actually cut off her comments and has not responded to any emails, and actually decided to cut the phone lines and release students early to not deal with the situation. And so what it shows is that there's a lack of sensitivity training. There's a lack of understanding for how deep and serious this can be. And when we're talking about the idea of 51% of transgender children who have been bullied saying that they have at least attempted suicide, we have to do better with the idea of who we're employing to take care of these students, and specifically students who are coming from marginalized communities like the trans and LGBT community.
2021 has been called the deadliest year for transgender and gender non-conforming people. Why do you think now? Why this year?
It goes up every year. And so it's not why do I think now or why now. Every single year, this number doubles itself. Every single year, people realize that they can get away with harming LGBTQ folk. They realize that they can get away with harming Black trans women specifically, because within our community, we are not talking about these things. Within our community, folks are trying to justify, the violence that happens towards Black trans women for whatever reason. There are a bunch of social reasons that we can name. There's a bunch of conversations that we can get into for why people think that these things are okay. But this number happens every single year. Every single year, the number triples and doubles itself, and it makes fun of itself. And I think that what we have to start to do is, as a whole, as a community, we have to put value in the lives of all people that bring culture and that bring fun and pizzazz and intelligence and intellect and new ideas into our community. It cannot stop at people who are cisgender and heterosexual, because then we lose the idea of brilliant minds, brilliant people, because they fall into depression and, or like we see in those numbers, suicide. It has to stop. This is not a new epidemic. It's not something that we're going to be able to change overnight. But what we have to do is be able to have conversations within our own community about why people have such vitriol and why people have so much hate towards the trans community, so that we can then unpack it and fix it.
Does social media play a role in these attacks at all?
Oh, most definitely. And I hate to be the person to bring it up again, but when we talk about this idea of jokes, when we talk about the idea of the things that these kids are seeing on social media, there are people that will literally justify the killing of Black trans women no matter what the cause was, A lot of folks like to justify the idea that trans women are tricking men, that trans women are seeking out heterosexual men, that trans women are going after people, who do not want us. And I think that there's a misconception that social media helps to perpetuate, that trans women are predatory, specifically that Black trans women are predatory for Black heterosexual men, that we seek nothing other, we seek to do nothing other with our lives than to find a Black heterosexual man and force him to love us. And those things are just misconceptions. And a lot of people take those things and they run with them as fact. They take those things and they use them for dissertative papers. They take those things and they use them to teach their children how to fear and run away and do away with, and if need be, cause violence towards trans people. I think that social media, while it can be a great tool, as we're seeing here with Shantae's story, for getting the word out, it can also be a catalyst for spreading hate. And we see that not just with the LGBT community, but we see that within racism. We see that within a bunch of things that people use social media for, to do away with the idea of actually having to deal with and check themselves, right, and their privilege in whatever respect that is. But actually, they use social media in a large way to gather other folks who feel the same way, and then use that to build a following against people who are doing nothing to them.
Hope, thank you so much for your insight tonight, but also thank you for covering this story. On your Instagram, I saw the name of the school, the name of the administrators, contact information. I encourage everybody to go to your IG page and get that information. Anyone who wants to be involved, anyone who wants to hear from the school why they're making the choices that they make, please go to Hope's page and check it out. Hope, good to see you as always. Everybody, be sure to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages. Let us know how you feel. Also, visit our website, bnc.tv. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well if you want to check out clips from the show.